I think that Bitcoin is ready for brand new all-time highs, and in today's video I will be providing you guys with a high time frame Bitcoin update and a potential trading idea. Even though the Bitcoin is trading near new all-time highs, I think there's a lot of panic and a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market as we speak. And if you feel this kind of uncertainty, if you feel this kind of panic, and if you start thinking about a potential scenario where the potential cycle top might be in, I think it is always a very good thing to start zooming out onto the chart. So what we can see over here is that we are chilling on the 3-day chart. Now when we look at this price action over here, we have seen a major run towards the upside that is being followed up by simple consolidation. Now you have to realize and think about the fact whether or not this is looking bullish or this is looking bearish. I think what would help a lot of people to simply invert the chart over here and now think about the fact whether or not this chart is looking bullish or bearish. I think that 99.99% of the people that would look at a chart like this would say that this is definitely looking super weak and that there's a high probability for more downside, right? So by zooming out onto the chart, that's the first thing that you should do in order to relax yourself and in order to realize that this chart is actually looking bullish. Now the second thing that we can do is zoom into the local price action over here and see whether or not we are distributing or whether or not we are actually potentially reaccumulating. Now what we can do over here is go to the daily chart and first of all apply the range like this. We can see that over here we have this range with the range low area over here, mid-range, and the range high area over here. And until proven otherwise, Bitcoin is range bound. But Bitcoin is not only range bound, we can also see that near the range low we have seen the first smaller deviation of the range low that is being followed up by a second bigger deviation below the range low. Now this in my opinion is always super bullish, especially if in confluence with a double range low deviation we have a break of structure towards the upside, right? So that price action and the range over here are definitely supporting a bullish bias, because around that range high we have an unmitigated liquidity pool, which is actually the all-time high for Bitcoin. So for now, simply looking at this price action over here, if I would exclude my bias for Bitcoin cycle-wise, where I'm still expecting higher prices, where I'm still expecting a last phase where we will go parabolic. If I would look at this chart, for example, if it was maybe a 1-hour chart, right? Then I would say that I'm extremely bullish. Also, when we check out the EMA confluence onto this chart, right? We check out the 100 and 200 EMA on the daily. We can see that we are still trading above the 100 EMA on the daily, and that we are also still strongly trading above the 200 EMA on the daily, in which we have deviated beneath the 200 EMA. And usually if you deviate beneath or above the 200 EMA on the daily, if you then retest that area, it should definitely hold as support, and then the price should expect to be pumping higher. So for now, the chart is simply looking super bullish, and as long as the range low holds, right, this area over here, you can find an invalidation beneath the low of the deviation, and the price should be pumping towards higher targets. So yes, I get the point where altcoins are performing really weak over the past few months, and Bitcoin is simply consolidating inside of a sideways area over here, and I expect people not necessarily to be as patient as they should be, and I understand where people are coming from, but you have to realize that we are simply still in a bull market. Also time-wise, there's nothing to worry about. And is there a probability that we will see one more crash maybe towards $50,000? Yes, there is, and I'm not ruling that out of the question. But with the Bitcoin ETF, with the Ethereum ETF, the elections that are coming up, I don't see a lot of reasons why also fundamentally we should be extremely bearish or cautious, right? Something that I've been thinking about a lot lately is the fact where I'm personally expecting a run for Bitcoin and equities onto higher targets into the election decision. I think that is due somewhere around the 11th of November, if I'm correct, in which I expect Donald Trump to win the elections. And from off that point, people will say, Donald Trump was right. Look at how the markets are pumping after he got elected. And then after the election decision, markets will continue to rise and pump slightly more to trap even more people thinking that the Trump decision and the fact that Trump has become president is super bullish for the economy and the markets. And at that point, the markets will top. I don't know at what price Bitcoin will top, but time-wise, I think it will be due somewhere Q1 2025 or late 2024. It depends on how hard Bitcoin will pump at some point. And I think that's a time to be very cautious. But for example, when we also look at a volume right now over here, we can see that during this consolidation area, right, the volume has been dropping lower and lower and lower. Obviously exclude this little spike over here. Just look at the average and general volume dropping lower and lower and lower. Now, when you look at a potential top or when you look at a potential bottom, you want to see the volume going higher, higher and higher during the sideways movement, because that means that people are either distributing for potential tops or accumulating for potential bottoms on the higher time frame. Now, another thing that I would be looking at for a potential top is a weekly bearish divergence with the RSI over here, and that is also something that we haven't seen yet. Okay, so in order to look at a potential top for Bitcoin, also you have to realize it's not going to be a wick that is going to mark a top. It is indeed going to be a bit of a consolidation area like this, like we were seeing over here, consolidating dump, like we're seeing over here, consolidating dump. But in order to look for a potential top, you want to see a bearish divergence on the weekly time frame like we were seeing over here. You want to look at the volume while the price is moving sideways. You want to see the volume going higher, higher and higher. And when we are on the daily, still trending above the important EMAs. When we are on the daily, market structure still looking bullish. And when we are on the daily and we are still trading inside of this reaccumulation range, because in my opinion, it looks definitely like potential reaccumulation, I don't think there's a lot to worry about. And dips are for buying until proven otherwise. So for now, this area over here, right, if we get another dip into this area, it is a good area to look for longs and buy positions. If you get one more flash crash, you always want to be prepared. You always want to save some USDT, and you want to be able to buy as much Bitcoin and Ethereum and altcoins around this area over here before it starts pumping towards new all-time highs. But that's just plan B. For now, plan A is just stick to my trading system, stick to my analysis on a higher time frame, also time-wise stick to my bias, and expect Bitcoin to either bottom out over here, start pumping towards the range highs, breakout, and pump higher, or get one more dip over here into this range low, start finding support over there, and then pump it high. And I think this video is made for the people that are stressing for a potential cycle top, that are stressing for a potential crash on altcoins and Bitcoin. And yes, maybe it will crash, but higher time frame wise, we are bullish until proven otherwise, and you should stick with your bias. This is just no financial advice, this is just my opinion. I have a strong conviction that at some point the market is going to pump towards brand new all-time highs. I hope it may have relaxed you guys a little bit as well. And the point of this video is to understand that as a trader and investor, you have to trust your bias, you have to trust your analysis, and you have to exclude all of the noise that comes with trading and investing. So there's plenty of people saying that the market is stopping. There's plenty of people saying that the economy is going to crash. But for now, I am sticking to my bias and analysis. And my bias and analysis, fundamentally and technically, are both pointing towards more upside. So all that I can do as a trader and investor is trust that bias and analysis and try to make sure that I cover my risk well, and then try to make sure that if my bias and analysis are indeed correct, that I make a bunch of money.